Is it just me?
At the end of the day, she's made $1 million in payments to them.
Welcome back to the channel and thank you for watching. I'm a barrister who helps you understand law, and thank you all for your kind comments about telling me to relax and enjoy my holiday, which I am. I am sitting in this lovely apartment near the sea, and we've taken a day, even though we've been to the beach every day so far. But in this video, the obvious question that must be on everyone's mind: if Amber Heard didn't donate this divorce settlement money, then where is it? It's like the obvious question you get in a conference with a client, where you are asking where they were on a given day at a certain time, because if they say they were not at the place where the alleged crime took place, then where were they? There must be an explanation, right? Because let's think of it this way. In the Virginia trial, the court heard from Terence Doherty, the ACLU chief operating officer, that $350,000 was donated by Heard in December of 2018, and $100,000 was paid by Johnny Depp, and another $350,000 from an investment fund. And the court was also told that Elon Musk donated $500,000 to ACLU and the Children's Hospital. However, Amber Heard had insisted that while these donations were in her honor, they didn't count towards the pledge to donate the full divorce settlement. Note the word pledge, which I hinted at the beginning of this video and you'll see at the very end, so make sure you watch till the very end. And I'm sorry, but you know what? It's also occurred to me whilst editing this video that there is potentially yet another misleading statement within the misleading statement by Elaine to the jury. Because in Amber's testimony, she said that these donations were in her honor and did not count towards the overall pledge that she'd promised to ACLU.
Yes, Elon also, Elon, who was my boyfriend at the time, had his own charitable contributions that he made. He made $500,000 to both in my honor.
But Elaine said she had paid $1 million in payments to them.
At the end of the day, she's made $1 million in payments to them.
And as I say, there's a bit at the end of the video which you'll come back to and watch, but she says she paid $1 million in payments to them. Well, that's misleading if Amber's testimony was that these payments were from other people in her honor and didn't count towards the pledges. So there is yet another potentially misleading statement by Elaine to the jury. I just thought I'd throw that in there whilst I'm editing this video. And yes, I will go and enjoy my holiday after this. So the obvious question here is, if she received these divorce funds, then pledged them as a donation, but ultimately didn't pay them, where are the funds? Because whilst on the one hand, the argument was raised by her and repeated by Elaine Bredehoft that they were spent in legal fees, the question is now that if in fact those fees were paid by the insurance company and not by Amber Heard, then not only would that amount to a deceptive statement by both of them, but it also calls into question where those funds are. Because if she still retains those funds and there is now a judgment against her, notwithstanding any appeal, because an outstanding appeal doesn't necessarily prevent enforcement of a judgment, then where are those funds? Because she must still have them. No, if she hasn't actually paid them across in legal fees, as she claimed, if the insurance company has paid them out. So this must obviously be on everyone's minds. So I thought I would throw that question out there, because as we always say, we follow the money. And so just so you get a little bit more value out of this video, the way we often enforce judgments, and I frequently enforce judgments for my clients, are by way of orders from the court to third parties such as a bank that hold a debt in favor of the judgment debtor. This is the way banks work. They hold a debt for their customer, which is the judgment debtor. So we go to the court, and I've done this many times in the last few years. We go to the court to ask for what we call a third-party debt order. That is an order of the court on the basis of a judgment that the third party, the bank, owes a debt to their customer, which is the judgment debtor. That the bank frees those funds or sufficient funds to pay over to my client to satisfy the judgment debt. This is just one method of enforcement, and there are many. Others include going to your debtor's employer, and you get the court to order the employer to freeze money every month to pay over to your client, the judgment creditor. And another form is a charge against a property. It's known as a charging order. So you get the court to order a charge against the property so that you can then potentially get an order for sale of that property to settle the judgment debt. So these are just a number of different enforcement methods that can be used all at the same time, in any order, in any combination. But the ultimate question remains, where is the money? Because that is what, if they were looking to enforce the judgment, which they probably aren't, the Depp's team are probably not looking to enforce payment of this. Johnny Depp probably doesn't need the money. He's probably not going to try to enforce the money. He probably just wanted to clear his name, which is why this case was so important. As we often say, it's not just about the money. But now, as to the clip from the beginning of the video.
At the end of the day, she's made $1 million in payments to them.
Is it just me, or did Elaine Brederhoft almost say she has paid this amount in pledges and then stopped herself?
At the end of the day, she's made $1 million in payments to them. $1 million in payments to them. $1 million in payments to them.
Now, this came to my mind because there's a lot of speculation going around online that perhaps Elaine and her team were working on some kind of contingency over and above the insurance amount that was paid. So all of this we'll have to wait to find out, but it wouldn't be unusual because lawyers very often will work on some kind of contingency, like a damage-based agreement, such as if she won a certain amount of damages, the lawyers would get a chunk of that, a percentage of that, and very often they won't get their fees in advance. They are just working on the pure basis that they will win the claim and get a slice of the damages. So again, let me know your thoughts. It very much sounds to me like she almost said, perhaps a Freudian slip of the tongue, that she almost said that she's made $1 million in pledges. Well, I don't know about any other lawyer, but for myself and for any other business that matter, I would recommend you don't take your payments in pledges. You take them in fees and money. Thank you for watching. You're just a fluffy stomach, aren't you?